Christ Freedom Church. Hey y'all, welcome to week 4 of Month of Mission. This time has been powerful. It's been absolutely impactful. We hope that y'all are blessed just as well as Reese and I are blessed. And so this week, week 4, we are processing how Jesus equips us for the work of mission. And so Reese, help us to further what we've already been talking about with how Jesus equips us for mission.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I've been thinking about is how Jesus equips us with a promise, and how a promise really can be a powerful thing. And the promise that I have in mind is from Matthew 9. It's the promise that there is a harvest that is ripe for the kingdom. And so just to read this verse, it's in Matthew 9. Jesus tells his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest." And really the promise that's packed into that verse is that there is a harvest, and it's not scarce, it's actually plentiful. In other words, Jesus doesn't send us into a world, he doesn't send us out with a hopeless task. That you're going to go out, you're going to trudge through the work of mission, but there's not going to be any fruit. Now, mission for sure can be challenging at times, like we've talked about over the course of this month. It can be discouraging, but the promise of Jesus is that there is a harvest and that it's ripe. And so, as far as there are faithful followers of mine that go out, there will be some fruit. And so that's such an encouragement to know that Jesus doesn't send us out with a mission that can't be won or it can't be accomplished, but that there will be progress.
Well, I love gardening. I know you love gardening. And so to know that Jesus sends us out to a ripe harvest, and we don't know who's ripe just yet. Like, we don't know who is ready to hear and receive and come to faith. But, what I know about, spring gardening is, when I put my tomatoes on and the summer hits and these tomatoes are ripe, new tomatoes pop up as ripe tomatoes are falling. You know what I mean? And so I go out and I'm looking around like, are these tomatoes ripe? Like, I'll pick these off, but I'll leave those there. And just wondering, like, what a beautiful picture. Like, just go out and work the harvest. Be present in the land. Be available. Like, obviously, I feel like as you share that, I'm like, man, Lord, like, what a beautiful picture that God has called us to be gardeners in the harvest.
That's a good image.
I mean, what does that look like for us? Like, how do we practically live this out?
Well, we've talked a lot about prayer, rightfully so, the last couple of weeks, but I mean, Jesus gives us really the practical application here. He says, in light of the fact that there is a ripe field to harvest, the application is to pray that God would send out laborers into the harvest. And so two things on that. One is praying that God would send out harvesters, but really that he would send us out. I mean, we are the harvesters. And so I think it starts with just praying, God, help me believe there is a ripe harvest. There are people who are close to the kingdom and just need a faithful witness to go out and point them to Jesus. And so make me that faithful witness. Make me that harvester. So I think praying in line with what Jesus prays, but then also we have about, a week and a half left of Month of Mission, and we have these morning prayer calls. So every morning, 6:30 to 7 a.m., every weekday morning, we've been meeting on Zoom for 30 minutes to pray. And those have been a super encouraging time, and thus far, they've been full of people ready to pray. And so if you haven't been a part of one of those, you have about a week left, maybe 5 or 6 more slots. And so that's a very practical application of this, because that's what we're doing. We're praying in different ways, really, that God would equip us to go out into the harvest and be faithful in that calling. So sign up and join us for one of those.
I love that. Hey, church family, I want to share this with y'all. As a follower of Jesus Christ, you are a harvester. Like, God has called you to go out into the harvest field. I just pray we would adopt that for ourselves and not just pray that for somebody else, as you could share. So Hey, we'll see y'all tomorrow for the last content video for week 4 of the mission.